if we talk about in my own realm, in my own world, applying it today, the biggest downside risk for a small business like me is just cash flow.
Yeah.
Like you can't meet payroll, you can't meet tax obligations, you can't meet basic things. And it's as simple as like every week updating a little sheet on a spreadsheet to show what cash flow looks like on a weekly basis.
Well, that's why we started Thrive.
Exactly.
And every business owner has that exact issue. And it is the most frustrating part of running a business. Often it's one of the most time consuming. And for most, again, it's the most stressful, right? A lot of people, and you come from an e-commerce, commerce background, they hate looking at the numbers.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends, as soon as they see a spreadsheet, they just get stressed, just the visual of seeing like a lot of numbers. And, with Thrive, we're trying to build something that does it all automatically for a business so that they can actually just spend their time on growing their customer base, getting more sales, et cetera, which is the part that most business owners love.
And we can touch on how you fell into that soon. I'd 100% agree with that. I'd spend the majority of my time in things like Xero and stuff like that. And sometimes you can definitely see a future with a product like Thrive where having it just there in the palm of your hand in a mobile environment is going to release a lot of tension and that downside risk. I've always thought that there should be a tool for something like this for quite some time. So it's intriguing to see that you guys have come up with something that, because Xero doesn't really do everything that you need.
No, and it's intentional.
Yeah.
And I love Xero, and it's, not to criticize them because they've built an awesome company. And it's great that it's a local-ish business, right, in terms of being formed out of New Zealand. But they are very wedded to their accountant partners. So they actually don't want to close the loop on the product because it would actually remove the need for an accountant. It's similar to what REA or realestate.com.au, they have a similar challenge, right? In theory, you don't necessarily need a real estate agent if everyone's online. I know it's a physical big purchase, so people like to inspect, but you could probably build something so people can still do a physical inspection and purchase the whole thing online. But, they went through this philosophical dilemma, do we do that or not? And they've decided to partner, right, with the real estate agents. So I think Xero has a similar challenge. I know that they've thought about automation and all of that, but they don't quite want to do that because, their biggest distribution source is accountants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the issue that they have is sort of like they're really a B2B service, not B2C.
Correct. They were designed for accountants.
Yeah.
Correct. And even now you would argue, I've worked in product for many years, their interface and their usability of their platform is not great.
No.
But look, I think they've definitely built a powerful tool, and we think that with Thrive that so there's a couple of hypotheses we have, and some of that's been validated through the research we've done and the fact that we have this really awesome wait list. The first is that people want something that does everything in one place. They don't want to have to use multiple systems. They don't want to have a bank account, a Xero, an invoicing solution, and often still a spreadsheet that they use for cash flow forecasting and things like that. They want it all in one place.
Yeah.
The second thing is they want it to be as automated as possible. And the key factor there is, from our research, they spend 6 hours a week on all these things. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
53 minutes on reconciling transactions, 50 minutes on invoicing, et cetera, et cetera. And if you said to someone, I'm going to give you 5 hours back, we're going to take it from 6 hours to 1 hour. 5 hours a week, to spend with family or to do more business stuff. That's awesome.
It's like what you said in, there was an interview that you had, but basically you start a business and so you're doing all these different activities, whether it's invoicing, reconciling, reporting, whatever it may be. And then eventually you hire like an external provider to do it, like a bookkeeper. And then eventually it gets to the point where it's big enough that you just hire someone internally to do it. And making that redundant, I think, is while also making business owners more financially aware is probably the way things need to go.
Correct. And look, you would do it and a lot of business owners, they probably taught themselves how to use Google Analytics, Google Ads. A lot of it's self-service, right? People do it for the first X amount of time. And finances is the same. We think we can get to the point where, the knowledge that sits within a bookkeeper's head or an accountant can be coded. We can recognize a transaction and understand how that should be treated from a tax perspective. We can understand what GST, was applied to that transaction and then pull it into your BAS, right? All of that can be coded. And once you believe that, it means, full automation of that can be achieved.
Yeah.
And that's just what we're working towards. So with Thrive, as you're transacting and using our bank account, which is really there as a data source, right? Because we're acting as the bank as well.
Yeah.
So every time you transact or you receive income, we know in real time your financial position. We're able to then code it correctly, apply it to a chart of accounts. And when it comes time to do your BAS or tax return, it's literally just going to be, hey, Jordan, does this look right, or is there any issues? Also, hey, Jordan, if you want an expert to look at it, we can introduce you to somebody. So we know some people want to ask questions or they want to get a human to just sort of review it. We'll offer the same thing. If you don't, you can just submit it directly, right? It's all there for you.
Yeah.
And I lived in the US for a few years, and that's how 30-40% of the market do their tax returns. There's a product there called Intuit.
Oh, yeah.
Huge behemoth of a business. But it's cool, man. You go in there, it pulls all your, I think they call it a W-40. It pulls basically your income and everything. They pull stuff from your bank account and they just sort of say to you, ask you a few questions. Did you earn any money from here, there, or everywhere? You fill it out in 5 minutes and it's good to go.
Yeah, right.
And with APIs, open banking, all these other things coming, we expect a day soon that we can automate, all of that.
Yeah, well, I was very intrigued because the angle that you guys took was being a business account or a current account. So really you're going head on with, you're not really going head on with Xero. You're actually going head on with the banks in a way.
We are. We think we're creating a new category.
Yeah, it's definitely its own category.
Yeah, and the reason is that the two categories grew organically. Banking's been around for hundreds, thousands of years, right?
Well, you're bundling the two categories.
Yeah. We're into exactly. And the thing that's interesting is that, say 20 years ago, MyOb was created and then Xero came along, and they at that time had to be separate products. There was minimal integration. There was no APIs. All of those things didn't exist. And what they ended up building was bank feeds. So to sort of pull all that data in to a separate platform and then allow you to control it there.
Yeah.
We're saying cut that. You don't need a separate platform. And the way a business thinks is they do business. They want to know their financial position now and in the future. They want to be able to get a loan. They want to be able to do invoicing. All these sort of financial management tasks we think can exist in one place, and that's what we're building with Thrive. So it's a new category in the sense that everyone builds their own siloed services today, and we're sort of breaking that silo.
Yeah, it's sort of the approach we've taken for the sort of digital/talent space with our agency. It's what Tesla's done well. It's just integrating as many services as possible to make a better product, essentially.
Yeah, the example I give is imagine you didn't have to have Netflix, Stan, Binge, KO.
Yeah.
You just had one app or one brand. That would be the best. Everyone would want that product, right? And that's what we're building with Thrive. And we've got an awesome team. So interesting, a lot of people initially said you're taking on a lot, right? You're doing invoicing, payroll, et cetera, et cetera. We don't think it's that hard to do.
Well, from a technical point of view, are you building separate platforms because of that? Or because my understanding is invoicing is just built in as part of the system oftentimes.
Yeah, for us, it's just integrated. So when you log into Thrive, there's your bank accounts and you can see all your transactions. There's invoicing and quotes. There's payroll. So they're all features within one product, but it's all integrated. So for example, with payroll, one of the issues with Xero is because they're not connected to the bank account. To do payroll, you actually download a file.
Yeah, I know. It's
and then go and upload it into your bank account. Because we're the same thing.
Yeah.
When you hit pay, we just use our banking rails and send the
just
payment.
pays it out,
But the cool thing is that also then flows into your tax, because obviously wages and that need to be categorized and put as part of your tax.
Yeah.
So that's the automation we're building. It all happens. You don't have to then go and sort of work it out or use an account to figure it out. It all happens in the background.
Yeah, I got to say, when you use Xero, it's like, okay, I've got to enter these items, and then I've got, everyone's pay, and then click run, like post pay run. Then you have to file it. Then you have to do the super. Then you got to come back to do the transfers. You got to export this file, put it into NAB, like what are they called? ABA files or something.
Correct, ABA files.
Then you got to do that, and then finally you're done, and then you got to double check it so you know you haven't fucked up anything.
Yeah. And that's what, we remove all that. And then in the future, it can be automated, right? So if you do have a simple business where maybe you've got a few employees, and they're on the same pay cycle, as well with our product, the business can, get an employee to upload expenses and all of that as well. But it just runs automatically every month, right? Yeah. And it sort of runs by exception. If we notice something wrong or something different, we'll flag it to you as the business owner. But if it's not, it just runs and you don't have to do anything. So for us, considering when you look at all the pain points that a business has about their finances, we're actually removing the biggest pain points, which is the time element, the cost as well. It's a lot cheaper, and the stress, because it's all done.